The city of Jericho is mentioned a few times in the Hebrew Bible, but always under dramatic circumstances that I expand on in the video about ancient Jericho. The city changed its location several times. It began on the ancient mound just across the street from Elisha spring, actually a few tens meters across us. During the Second Temple period, the city moved south, close to the emerging location of Wadi Kelt from the mountains. During the Byzantine period, it was rebuilt in the valley at the foot of the mound, actually where we are today. Jericho's proximity to Jerusalem, the mild climate here in winter compared to Jerusalem, its fertile land and the abundance of water from its spring had a decisive influence on its history, especially during the Second Temple period. Kings built their winter palaces here, followed by the wealthy and priests of Jerusalem, and the importance of the city grew. The fact that Jericho is located on a relatively flat terrain made it possible to irrigate its agriculture area with relatively small effort. And due to the height of Elisha's spring, 50 meters above the agricultural land, so that the water flows through aqueduct or canals by gravity. There is no doubt that the unique development of Jericho is largely due to Elisha's spring, which transformed the place into a unique oasis. In the ancient world, villages developed into cities and later into leading districts in places where there were rich water sources, such as along the Nile and in the case of the Euphrates and Tigris. The residents' confidence on water source, which brought them wealth since the dawn of history, accelerated the process of urbanization. A similar process, yet on a smaller scale and in much earlier period, occurred in ancient Jericho. The most important water source in the area is Elisha's spring, called by the Arabs Ein-es-Sultan, a name first mentioned in the Middle Ages. The virtues of the spring are described in the second book of Kings, chapter 2, where it is also described how Elisha was able to transform the bad water into good water. The water quality of Elisha's spring has been associated throughout the ages with divine action performed by Elisha the prophet. Many scholars have tried to find a scientific explanation for the miracle. I won't bore you with all these scientific explanations I've read about Elisha's action, but there is one which I found interesting. In the early 1950s, snails that live only in fresh water and serve as host for the parasite that causes bilharzia were found in ancient Jericho. Bilharzia is a disease caused by worms that live in fresh water, which infect humans through the skin and cause symptoms such as fever, cough, and in later stages damage organs such as liver or bladder. The snail serves as an intermediate host for the worms. If we assume that the water was bad due to bilharzia, then Elisha's salting of the water could indeed have eradicated it by exterminating the nails. Maybe. Elisha Spring springs at a height of 220 meters below sea level. On average, it provides about 4.5 million cubic meters of water per year, and the spring excels in stable flow throughout the year. The most significant spring in the area is Ein-Uja. It's located 14 kilometers northwest of Elisha Spring. Its water volume is about 15 million cubic meters per year, but it is located outside the city limits. At Elisha's spring occurred what was considered a miracle in ancient times. The so-called high-altitude pools. What are they? The residents of Jericho discovered that if you block the spring source, the water erupt at the higher place, which today is called an artesian well or an artesian spring. The result is that it is possible to irrigate fields that are higher than the natural exit level of the spring, or to drop the water and utilize the force created by this fall to operate, for example, a flour mill, or to allow irrigation coverage for a larger area by using longer aqueducts. Today we know that this feature is characteristic only of springs whose water originates in veins located in the thickness of the earth above their natural exit point. Therefore, they can, according to the law of interconnected vessels, rise close to the height at which their underground spring source begins. By blocking the exit point of the spring water was raised to a height of about 4 meters above the original exit point and stored in two designated pools called the elevation pools. The southern pool of the two stored water that flooded through an aqueduct to power a flour mill that operated until the mid-20th century. Today there are no remains of the pools. Elisha's spring is mentioned throughout history in many external sources. I will mention two sources. The first is Josephus Flavius in his book The History of the Jewish War with the Romans, which he wrote 2000 years ago in the 1st century. I've included short sections with my translation from Hebrew to English, and so he wrote, "Near Jericho is a rich source of living water, the waters of which are very good for watering the land. This source opens near the old city, which is the first of the Canaanite city that Joshua bin Nun, the leader of the Hebrew army, conquered with the sword. It is said about this spring that in the past it would destroy the produce of the field and the fruit of the trees, and also harm women's children, and its water would bring sickness and death to all creatures. But afterwards, the waters were healed and became healthy and fruitful by the hand of Elisha the prophet, who loved Elijah and became his successor. He approached the spring and threw a clay of vessels full of salt into the water, and then raised his right hand to heaven and prayed to atone for the face of the earth and make a covenant with it, asking it to heal the waters and open sweet veins. And he prayed to God. And with this prayer, which the prophet preceded with deeds, with the wisdom of his hands, he healed the spring." As for the second source, on the 6th century Madaba map shows a large building built on Elisha's spring from which water flows to Jericho. Above it appears a Greek inscription to the holy Elisha. That is for the Elisha spring. And finally, as usual, I have a question for you. In what context did the prophet Elisha say, "For thus says the Lord, you shall not see wind, nor shall you see rain, yet that brook shall be filled with water, and you shall drink, you and your cattle and your beasts"? The answer, as usual, will appear in 5 seconds.